Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Flags in a Gym, a podcast dedicated to all things color guard. My name is Eric. I'm your host and resident color guard nerd, and today's episode is our final installment in our WGI Finals recap, and we are recapping Scholastic World. Our good friend Will is back, and we are discussing all the finalists, our top 5 predictions, and just whatever we feel like talking about. So sit back, relax, and let's talk some color guard. Here we go, Scholastic World.
Woohoo!
Our last one.
Our last one. Yeah, I feel like we need like a little like ending fanfare or processional or something.
Or a drink.
Well, that's
before we get started, I do want to mention to everybody, so, this has been a lot of episodes and a lot have been thrown at you. And we just want to thank you for listening to everything. And Will, thank you for being here through all of these. We've been going back and forth trying to schedule recording times to get these out quickly. And, I wanted to make sure we covered each class separately because I wanted to make sure everybody got their due. I didn't want to do just one single hour-long episode where you kind of glaze over everybody. You talk like 3 guards per class and then just call it a day. I want to give everybody their flowers, celebrate everybody. It's been a lot.
It's been a lot. It's a lot of flags.
A lot of flags in a gym. Thank you to everybody for sticking with us. And this is the final one, 6 out of 6 Scholastic World. I do want to make a quick couple of shout outs. One to Riley May down in Florida. She reached out to me. She had mentioned that she loves to listen to the podcast and she converted her parents into podcast listeners.
Oh, goodness.
So they all listen to it. And then at dinner time at the table, they have their own discussion with their own opinions.
Aw, yeah.
And I love that,
We love that, Riley. Thanks for listening.
And Riley's parents.
It's a family event. That's awesome. I love that.
Flags in a Gym, bringing families together since 2025.
Yay.
We've also gotten a lot of feedback on the episodes, because you and I will just kind of ponder things. Like, I wonder if they did XYZ, so we were talking about Phoenix with the mirrors, if they ever broke any.
Yeah.
So a lot of people reached out on Instagram and they've left comments on Spotify. So I wanted to just, tell people I love getting the comments. Thank you for answering the questions. We love getting the behind the scenes details. Please send them to me. I'm just going to ask that you do it over on Instagram just because it's way easier for me to respond. Because with Spotify, I can't respond through my phone. I have to log in through Spotify for Creators and then I can reply there. And it's a lot more work. And I want to make sure, you're being heard.
Yeah.
Because I really appreciate getting all this info back. Shoot me a message over on Instagram. Many of you have, and we've had little conversations. So I've gotten so many messages. Thank you for talking about our school. The people at Edge Independent A, we're all excited that we talked about them, even though they didn't make finals. But and then we mentioned Amador Valley, who we're going to talk about in a minute. They reached out and was like, thank you for, I love it. Yeah, please keep sending us that behind the scenes stuff and let us know if we're right or wrong about things. Another shout out to Sophia Wilson over at Kiski Area High School and her mom, Tammy. I bonded with Tammy early on in the season over on Instagram, and her daughter's over there on the flag line. So shout out to Sophia. Great job this season.
All right, Sophia.
I'm clapping near the microphone. I don't want it to be too loud.
We love Kiski.
So I did want to kind of go over some of the feedback that we've gotten just for these episodes, because let's just share it with everybody. This is in no order. I was going through Spotify comments, through Instagram messages. So Little Elm High School, when they came home from WGI, their bus got a police escort, back to the school, once they got into town with lights and everything, to celebrate their win.
I love that.
I thought that was super amazing. Cool. That's super great. I remember they did that for Somerville High School 2012 when they won Scholastic A with the Adele show, Turning Tables.
Yeah. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. Because I remember seeing a little thing that they posted, they got the fire trucks and everything. I love that,
I love that.
People don't usually care about the color guard.
All the warm fuzzies. I love that so much. That's awesome. That community support is so important.
Yeah. We're such a niche sport. Obviously the football teams are going to get it, if they win states or whatever, but it's just nobody ever cares about the color guard except for color guard people. That was really sweet. The director of Little Elm High School, Kristen Zadi, also messaged me. So she, oddly enough, when we were talking in the Scholastic Open episode, she marched in Cheshire High School 2006.
Oh my goodness. That's awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
Love that show. That flag toss at the end. Oof.
That whole flag feature.
Wow.
Amador Valley didn't go to WGI this year because it was their first year in Open.
Okay.
and the director had never done an open show before. Like, I
Okay.
guess they weren't expecting the success last year. So
Sure.
they're like, oh, so they put their best effort on the floor and didn't expect it to be so successful. So that's
Okay.
why they didn't go, because they were just like, the director was like, this is my first time ever doing an
We need
open
a
show.
minute to
Let's
adjust.
just stay
Sure.
local this year.
Yeah.
So, but they're planning on going to WGI next year.
Yay. Awesome. Well, they had a great season out in California, so this
Yes, they did.
was great. So,
And then Gates Chili Independent, they reached out to me. And oddly enough, the independent group is not affiliated with the school at all. They have a couple of members on the A Guard that go to the school, and then there's one in the open. But the independent group just happens to be based in the same area, but they pull from all over the place. Like they have members from 2, 3 hours away.
okay, that's cool. That's very fun to know. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
What else? What else? So Purdue University, remember we talked about how their show you could do like something spidery with it,
Yeah, yeah.
Their show was like an abstract take on like it was supposed to be like a spidery kind of thing.
Okay.
They messaged me and they were like, it actually was like a conceptual take on spiders. So
Okay, well,
we were
cool.
kind of
All right.
there.
Well, there we go. I love it. That's awesome. Gosh,
um,
they were so clean. I love them.
yeah, very clean. Both Pearland High School and Creekview out of Georgia self-promoted to open class this year.
Okay. Well,
Eh,
Pearland, it worked out great. Creekview, did we find out if they went to Dayton
They
or
did
not?
not go to Dayton.
They did not go to Dayton.
They
Okay.
did not go to Dayton. So
Well, they had a great year though, because they made finals at the regional that
yeah.
and that's really interesting. I love that. Okay, cool.
Let's see. I think I've got a couple more here because, like I said, I've gotten a lot, and I went through. Oh, this one was interesting from Pope High School. So, a Pope member messaged me. So I'm just going to read this verbatim because it's kind of long. Hi, Pope Guard member here, and I have to say we had the best schedule possible, being in the fourth round for prelims. It helped so much, and our later semis run set us up for our great wacky finals. It was thunderstorming right before our equipment warm up, and they couldn't let us walk out to the tent. So they had to set up an indoor warm up spot for us. Even the WGI CEO was there to help us have the best possible conditions.
Aw, that's
So they
incredible.
were getting ready to go on. They were going through warm up, and then they were like, sorry, you can't go to the equipment tent.
Well, the storms. Oh my goodness, that's
Because they used to do it way back in the day, like where the concession stands were
uh-huh.
on the back side of the arena. Because I
Vaguely
remember
remember
I
that.
warmed
That's
up
right.
there.
Because there would be the curtains, yeah, that blocked off this whole section that you didn't. Now you have access to it,
Right.
but yeah, yeah, gosh, well, pre-COVID certainly, maybe before that
Oh,
too.
I don't know how long ago they
I don't,
changed
yeah, I
them.
can't remember, but that's really interesting. Okay, wow.
And then if you didn't see, I did put this one on Instagram, but the mirrors in Phoenix,
Mhm.
they were from a company called Light Mirror, LITE, and they were a stretchy, extremely fragile film stretched over a metal frame. Accidents did happen, but we actually made it through the whole season with the same set we started with. Whenever we did hit them with equipment, they were able to be fixed with a heat gun. Didn't happen often though, because we were so terrified of breaking them.
That's so cool. What an interesting material. I would be that'd be fun to see in person and like get to like just feel it and whatnot. But that's really cool. Wow.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a member of Collage. Yeah, we all had different band books on our uniforms. The scaffolding props were a bit wobbly, kind of because the locks on the wheels were getting wear and tear. But we had precautions that if the wheels were unlocked, the people on top had to be holding on so it was be safe. The audio at the beginning was done by voice actors we hired, but it was to match the book where the main character was very monotonous about everything that happened around him. So that's
Okay.
why the voice lines were kind of flat. They were
Yeah, yeah,
intentionally.
yeah. That's really cool. I love though that it still makes me think of a old like an old movie.
Yeah, like an old
So
B movie.
that's great. I love that. That's such a cool detail about that show. Wow.
And then the last one I have, this is from a performer at Opus. As a performer of Opus this year and in 2024, the performer who broke her knee was able to come back and be a part of the cast this year, and she did recover fully.
Yay.
And I got a lot of messages from people at Opus. That was the easiest one to like concisely say what happened. But the girl who actually did get hurt messaged me, and she's like, I threw the opening rifle six in this year, like so
Oh
she
wow.
because
Aw.
I went back and watched the old show, and it's like no joke, like 10 seconds and like they're all in the corner. She steps off the prop. She's the opening body, and she does some weird like body movement where she's standing on one leg, and her knee just went kablooey, and
Ooh.
she just collapsed on the floor. and then writhing in pain crawls behind the prop, and I'm just like, oh my god,
Yikes.
that's that's scary.
That's just, I mean, yeah. Oof. Well, I love that she got to march again. That's so cool.
Yeah. Oh, can you imagine that being your final performance, like your age out? So that's most of the feedback that I've got.
I love that.
Yeah,
Awesome.
please, please, please keep sending it. We love it. I love getting these
Fun to
behind the
get the
scenes
little
details.
tidbits and the little
Yes, I
behind
love
the
it.
scenes stuff, and that's so fun. Love that.
So, all right, now we can move on to the color guards.
All right.
So let's wrap this up like a Christmas present because we're getting ready for April camp for DC, and people are in DCI mode now.
That's right. That's right. Oh gosh.
So we'll start with general thoughts on the class. For me, I honestly thought there was nothing too crazy in Scholastic World. You know, it was pretty cut and dry. Like there were no big surprises. Nobody, missed it by tenths. There was no, all the shakeups were like in the middle, like
Hmm.
just all the shuffling around. Like
Sure.
there was nobody that got bumped out of a medal spot, in finals or anything like that. There was nobody that missed finals by like
Yeah,
tenths or something
nothing,
like that.
nothing dramatic and
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah. I will say well, I said it. I guess I feel like I've said it every single time, but like the batch, the top 15 were so great. Like this was probably again to me as a viewer, um, this is probably one of the best Scholastic World top to bottom 1 through 15 that we've had in a long time. Just the quality, the performances we got in finals, the training that came through, the creativity, the variety of show theme. Like it was just so fun. I just loved it. It was so
Well, we
good.
love color guard, so it's easy
Well,
to.
I know, I guess that's
But
true.
no, I
I love
agree.
everything, but
There are years where it just you
it
seem
was
like you're getting the same vibe throughout the
for,
whole night,
right.
and this didn't. No, yeah,
Yeah, no, it was exciting right off the bat all the way through to the end. It was so cool. Yeah.
yeah. Our lovely first alternate was Stoneman Douglas, and they missed finals by 2 points. So like it's
That was a really interesting show for them too,
with
with
all
the
the boxes.
boxes and yeah. I wish they had it's like a show that maybe give them like a few more weeks and they could have like cleaned it up a little bit more and really, really gotten it super solid. It would be fun to see it again, because it was really, really interesting.
Yeah, it was an interesting concept. Yeah,
Yeah, it
they needed some more time to cook.
was very captivating to watch it. So I'm glad they made the trip and
Yeah, I do like that they added semis for world class because a lot of these groups were getting one performance and being done.
Mhm.
They added semis a while ago, but
but it's nice to just kind of keep the format and
right.
let them have the multiple opportunities.
Yeah, especially with Scholastic World where you only have 20 units,
Mhm.
where normally it would just be prelims and finals. Independent World now, there's so many,
Yeah.
you need to have a semis, but with the Scholastic World, they could be like, nope, sorry.
Maybe next year for 26, maybe we'll have like a full like 30 or something. However many guards there are in the country that are in Scholastic World, we'll get them all.
Yeah, well, so we have 20 here. Then you add, let's say we add Avon and Tarpon, they come back. So that's 22. You get three
Gosh,
promoted, that's 25.
yep. You've
And
got
then West Broward didn't come.
they didn't come. Sun Lake, I think it's Sun Lake from Florida didn't
Yeah,
come.
they didn't come.
James Logan didn't come. Well, Palm Desert didn't come. Um,
Yeah, they pulled out. They were supposed
that's
to.
that's 20, was that 29?
That's about 30. Yeah, you adding those in.
There's at least a good 30 groups out in the country that could show up
Flower Mound
and
didn't
do it.
come, which I wish they did. I
Oh, that's right. They
I
did.
loved Flower Mound show this
They were
year.
very, yeah. So yeah.
So
Scholastic World
cool.
teams, let's do it up for 2026. Come on. Or maybe they're saving up to come for the 50th anniversary because that would actually be really cool.
Mm.
It's like the biggest WGI ever at the 50th anniversary, and
I
every team comes. That'd be amazing. Yeah.
wonder
Anyway,
what the cap is for World Guards because they only caps
I
Classic
don't
A at this
I
point
don't think
because
they've
nobody else
ever.
hits the cap. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think that they've ever really. I mean, there have been obviously years where there's a lot more there versus some, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'd have to, well, because you can see it on it'd be on the registration pages. You can see, you know, 20 out of however many
Right.
are
Yeah, but
allotted.
they ripped
So,
those
but I
down
don't
so quick.
know. Yeah, I don't know.
was like the rankings page. As soon as the last regional is done, they pull
Like
that down.
they pull it down so fast. It was crazy. It was
Thank
absolutely
you to
cool.
band scores, by the way, out there.
Yes, thank you, Dan Scores, for doing some incredible work with their algorithms and their whoever's behind that site and page is doing some incredible stuff with Excel sheets and whatnot to
yeah, and I believe that's a one-person show.
is it wow, well,
Yeah,
kudos
so
to them.
yes, kudos, much appreciated. Love, love, love. And they just launched a website too. So, all
Oh wow. Okay, cool. That's awesome.
right, let's talk our top fives.
Yes.
We both had the same top five,
Oh,
and
okay.
we both got 5 out of 5.
Hey, all right.
Woodlands, Carmel, Arcadia, Eldorado, Flanagan. We both picked
Oh,
those for our top five.
okay, cool.
And then medalists, we were different. So you had Woodlands, Flanagan, and Arcadia, and I had Woodlands, Flanagan, and Eldorado. So I got one, and you got two.
All right.
We were riding the Flanagan train.
We sure were. Loved
And
it.
I thought Eldorado would sneak by Arcadia. I really did.
Yeah.
They were close. They were close.
I'm looking back. I've got the scores written down. I'm just glancing really quick. It was, yeah, 2 and 3 were tenths apart,
And then I think it was like six or
and
7 tenths to fourth.
yeah, so that was the top. Well, yeah, yeah, 4, 3, and 2 were pretty tight.
And then when you get lower, I think it's
It,
6 to 10 is super tight.
it's yeah. There's a
I think it's like a point and a half between sixth and 10th. Not
Glenn,
maybe
I'm
nine.
gonna say yes. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. Well, and we had two ties.
Two ties. Yes, two ties. Can we talk about all the ties?
This is
You have
they
a
just want
double
to see
panel and
ties
you have
and
two
what is this
ties.
DCI? Like,
So I marched during those years when you had the 2001, the 2000, the cadets and cavies tie at finals.
uh-huh.
And then 2001, the very first show, like they had the big showdown. I think it was in Buffalo.
Oh
It was
God.
up. It was somewhere upstate, and it was
Yeah.
cadets and cavies at the same show, and they tied.
Jeez.
And people were like, seriously, because it was like, oh, we're finally going to
Really?
see, who's good,
Uh,
yeah, sixth through ninth was basically a point. Northview essentially had an 89. Miamisburg had a 90. So
mhm.
you had four guards within a point of each other.
Wow, that's incredible.
All right, well, let's talk about the color guards.
All right.
15th place.
Kicking
We
it
had
off
kicking
that
it off. American Fork High School with their show Vibe Quest. They are out of American Fork, Utah.
Utah. Woo. All right. Let's go. Oh, our first world-class Utah finalist,
Yes.
I think, ever, I think.
And they've been a program that's been building and building for a long time. They were in Scholastic Open for 3-4 years, I think. Their
Mhm.
big BOA program.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
still
the marching program is incredible. Yeah.
but I love when these guards kind of pop up out of nowhere.
Hmm.
They're out of
Or
Utah.
seemingly out of nowhere.
Yeah, seemingly out of nowhere.
It's
People
like,
are like,
wait, but how do we miss this?
right?
What have they been doing?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they've been building and working for many, many
Yeah.
years. But yeah, it's just like there's a world guard out of Utah, like making finals. Like that's so cool. And I loved this show. This is, I mean, it's close to my favorite of the class.
Okay. All
It's
right.
not,
I
it's
love
not,
that.
well, it is flashy, but it's not, it's not crazy difficult. But there's so many things I love about it. One, I love the music.
Hmm.
I loved the floor, all those different patterns, the tiger print, the leopard, the paisley, the stripes over here.
Giving very Lisa Frank 90s Lisa Frank vibes, which I was here for. I loved that. That was
And the floor matched the show, the music matched the show because people will pull out this wild floor and then do Claire de Lune on top of it.
right.
And you're like, what the hell are you doing?
Like, what is
Right.
happening?
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they pull out this show. It's called Vibe Quest. And I just loved it. That opening rifle toss into the tiger print flags that explode. I was
Yes.
like, yeah, I
They
was so in love with
the
this.
programming of like the events in the show were programmed so well to highlight that soundtrack. and
Yes.
and yeah, they just as soon as that tarp started to open up when they came out of the tunnel and they started to pull, I was like, this is the way to kick off finals.
Oh,
Like,
this was the absolute best
this is
show to kick off finals.
absolutely
Yes.
fantastic.
This is like Elevate on the independent world side.
Yeah,
Like
yes,
you were starting the
exactly.
night off
Yeah.
right.
I mean, well, and the costuming too, the way the costuming, like, in a way it clashed with the floor, but also like worked so well with it. And like, I was just, it was just a blast. I mean, seriously, it was just a blast to watch them. And they were having so much fun. I'm sure they were just beyond excited to
So they posted a
get
reel of them of the staff announcing that they because they went back to the hotel waiting to see if they
yeah.
made finals. I mean, I think they knew they were going to based on the point spread and semis.
Okay.
Like they had a decent lead, but still, tons of screams, tons of cheers. They were so excited. You know, their first year in World, they make World Finals.
Mhm.
I loved it. So I don't know what kind of music this is called. It's like an electronica kind of,
It's like dance electronica kind of vibe. Yeah. It was
but my son loves this kind of music. So if you guys ever played the game Geometry Dash, my son, it's a game like for like tablets and stuff like that.
okay.
And he is obsessed with it. And it's got some pretty catchy music in it. And the music is very similar to this show.
Yeah.
So even my son was like, "This is cool. I'm like, you just like it because it sounds like your game." I loved it. Loved this. I hope they continue shows like this because this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm curious.
And all the flags matched the prints on the floor. They had a tiger print section, they had a spun a tiger print flag. They had a
Yeah.
leopard print section, they had a leopard print flag.
And they used each because the floor being so segmented and like they had some like some platforms and different things to it to make it just give it some texture and dimension to the set because otherwise it was pretty flat. I mean, honestly, but like but they did some cool things with just, giving you a little something. But they used every portion. And
Mm-hmm.
because it would be again some of those sets, it's just easy to let them just be there and you just happen to wander over to the corner. No, they made it purposeful to like, we're gonna go over here, we're gonna give you this moment, we're gonna give you this moment, we're gonna give you,
Yes.
they're visiting the different scenes of this club that we're in or whatever. Yeah, it was great.
I loved it.
It's fantastic.
So this is
Congrats.
one that I would, if I had the DVD, rewatch. I would
Yeah,
rewatch this a
yeah,
lot.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Congrats to them. I hope that I know well, I'm fairly confident. I think they have like an A team, a regional A team. They're
They
another.
do. Yep. Hmm.
But their fall guard is gigantic, a good 60 kids, I think. So they're they've a lot of performers out there. So I'm excited for them for the future and what things will be like. It'll be fun to
Yeah.
watch them again.
I
So
can't
yeah.
wait. 14th place was Bellbrook High School, and their show was called In the Spotlight, and they did My Way by Celine Dion.
Yes, this was so beautiful. And I honestly, sometimes it's kind of like, oh, this is like, you go from this like super high energy show from American Fork to this stunning, just lyrical, slow piece from, that Bellbrook is doing. And it's like, oh, but I love that we got this pacing in the way that the show's laid out through the whole class. Like we got these highs and lows, which was so good. Like because it just, I think it, again, as the viewer, it just kept me engaged in a way. I was like, oh, this is not what okay. Oh, I don't know. It just made it more exciting and interesting that way.
Yeah, because if you get fun, you get overstimulated. And if you get slow, subdued, you're just like, oh my God, I need to wake, like, I need to get a
Right.
coffee.
So
Like,
it's kind of yeah, the way it just happened to play out was really cool. They were beautiful. Beautiful,
yes.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved the floor. I loved those striking blue uniforms.
Oh, those costumes were
They were super
absolutely.
saturated, like just
Yeah, that royal blue
blue.
was
Yeah.
woo. Yeah, it was
So
stunning.
did they change their ending flag? Because I swore earlier in the season that was like a blue or maybe purple flag, and then at Dayton it was yellow or gold.
Mhm.
I'm
I
like, am I crazy?
I don't know 100%. But I feel like there was something that was slightly different. I don't know that that was it, but I could it was the indie regional maybe.
Yeah, the indie regional they had, because I thought it was very similar to the
Just the
uniform
ending
colors.
in general just seemed different when I first saw it than what I got from when they were in finals. Because I remember thinking, "Oh, this is okay," and I liked it more, honestly. So I'm glad they changed it. But whatever they did, I'm glad it worked. But yeah, I'm not sure if the flag changed or what it was exactly. But
But yeah, great ending flag feature. That white stage in the middle of the floor, I always forgot it was there because it blended into that
I was just gonna
spotlight
say
on the floor
it
so
just kind
well.
of disappeared almost into the rest of the tarp, and it was just this. Yeah, I don't. It's yeah, they did a beautiful job because their show last year was beautiful,
With
and
the
with
car
the
seats.
cars and the Gran Torino
Yes.
theme and whatnot, and then this was like, ooh, they really stepped into their sophistication level of what how they're presenting themselves, and I don't know, it was just beautiful. It's just that's all I can say.
It
It was
really
beautiful.
was. And the soundtrack was very easy to work with. I mean, it's Celine. I mean, My Way's already a big song. And
Yeah.
then you throw Celine doing it.
I don't know that I've ever heard her version of that, so that
I
was
had neither.
it was like, oh, I liked it. It was nice. Yeah, it was a good choice.
Yeah, it's very her style, but it was definitely more emotive than the Frank Sinatra version. The Frank
Mhm.
Sinatra version feels very robotic almost.
Very Rat Pack vibe. Like
Yeah.
that it's
It's
yeah,
a different era, and
he's
Celine gives it a different
yeah.
mood,
But yeah, she's giving you more of this emotion of empowerment to it in a way that I think the performers really did a good job of latching onto and helping propel their performance along. It was yeah.
Yeah. So I really like the show. Glad they made finals.
Yeah. I like this program a lot. They're just a great the staff people there have been there a long time and they just continue to keep it
Because they got bumped out of open
quality.
3 years ago. I think they got bumped mid-season 3 years ago.
think I think so, something like that.
That sounds right. And then I think
I
the
mean,
Gran Torino was their first like full year in.
right, because they got in and right, and they made it into finals and all that. Yeah, but they've just been a strong program for years, and it's just great to see them
Yeah.
maintaining that, and that's wonderful. Yeah,
Moving on to 13th place, we have Fishers High School with their show Expressions of Eternity.
this set was.
Best floor in WGI this year.
It was those clocks melting into the
Like the
second place,
Galaxy floor or
whatever it
whatever.
was. It was just wow.
Stunning.
Kudos to the people that did the whole set and building those clocks and all that. It just every single time I saw it, I was just like floored. No pun intended. But like
I
it,
get it.
but like,
Oh, sorry, wait, but
but yeah, it just I was like, this is absolutely stunning.
that floor was gorgeous.
I mean, just
They opened it up at the Indie Regional, and I'm like, oh my God.
the way that those props came up out of the oh,
Yeah.
oh,
And they were like super detailed, those
love that.
clock towers and being cut on the bias and everything. Like, just,
Just striking. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And then you have the performers, which were
Then you
fabulous.
have the performance. Yes.
And they were fabulous too. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the name of the show again? It's
Expressions of Eternity. I loved I call it the weapon replacement ripple. So, all the guards do it. Somebody tosses, they run away. Somebody runs up behind him and catches it.
mm-hmm.
You know, everybody does their variation of it. They had this one that it went in a spiral around one of the clock towers and it just kept going.
Mm-hmm.
Like normally you get 4 or 5 kids that do it. They had they did it like 19, 20 times. And I was just like, wow. The one thing I will say was kind of off about their show, and this could have been the flow camera picking things up,
Mm-hmm.
their color palette seemed off because the uniforms were that like teal seafoam and the floor was that, but then they pulled out like these on the camera. It looked like a moss green flag. Like it looked like they were trying to pick a color within the family,
Yeah.
but it was a step outside the family.
Interesting. Because in my mind, I think every time I looked at I again watching just the TV, but like seeing it that way, I always thought they were like an aqua, like an aqua seafoam color.
I mean, yeah,
So
the uniforms were, yeah.
no, I
But
thought the flag was too,
I don't know. Like I
but
said,
the
it could be the
but
flow
the
camera.
pole, I think the flagpole was like copper or something. Maybe my brain is wanting to picture one thing, but it wasn't. I don't know. Maybe I was interpreting it.
Yeah, I'd have
Yeah,
to
I
go back
wanted
and
to,
find a
but
video of it
yeah.
because I just remember the colors seemed to be harsh and not fit the palette that the floor and the uniforms were setting.
Okay. Yeah.
And I remember there was I think it was Stoneman. No, it was yeah, it was Stoneman Douglas years ago, like 2002, 2003, had this show, and it was just like, girl, where are you pulling these colors from? It's just like it was very Florida neon, the
We had it
time.
in the closet and we needed to use it again. Okay.
Honestly, yeah. It's just like that's your color story. Um,
Aw,
but I like the show. The kids are, they're
they
world
were
guard,
fab.
crazy and talented. And they've had a lot of success in World. Last year they were seventh with the baseball show.
Yes, that was last year with the baseball show. That's right.
And
Yeah.
then 2 years before that they were fifth with Time in a Bottle,
Mhm.
which I loved. That was a
Yeah.
great show.
Yeah. Yeah, they've
Uh,
had some really, really lovely productions. So, yeah.
and they're another large program. They've got a big A guard as well that they bring to the regionals. And congrats to you, Fishers. Let's move on to 12th place. Chino Hills High School from California and their show Fragmented Perspective.
This show was bonkers and baffled me all season until finals. And I was like, oh, I kind of like this. It was this Picasso, I think it was a Picasso painting, at least partial, that was spread across the props, the black and white,
Mm.
right? And then they had the yellow
The yellow
flower,
side of it, right?
and then the
Yeah.
yellow sides of the props, and there were some. I need the spiel sheet for this show to fully understand, like, what are you trying to tell me here? Um,
Yeah, Chino Hills definitely marches to the beat of their own drum.
every year it's always they're gonna give you what they're gonna give you and you're gonna like it.
Yep. Remember the year they
Like
did
straight up.
The Salvador Dali show with the melting clocks?
That was them.
That was them. And that was just
Uh-huh.
that was kooky.
It was
They're
kooky.
a kooky color guard. And I don't mean that as an insult. That's just
No, it's
that's their
yeah,
voice.
it's a good thing, especially in Scholastic World. Do it up. I mean, like, here you go. Why not? Yeah. I will say these kids are incredibly well trained on weapon. I like watching them spin weapon. It is very satisfying. And just yeah, it's just like, wow, they are gonna twirl. To an old school term, but they are gonna twirl, and
They're going to twirl.
it's gonna make you just clap and like, yay. Yeah, they had some great moments.
Yeah, I love the rotating props when they pick up the corner of the
Mhm.
prop. Did you see that one girl fell in
No.
finals? So they had like four across the back. It was the back right corner.
Okay.
And they do like a full 360, maybe something like that. So there's two, they each have and they're running around. They each have a corner and they're running around. And one girl literally tripped and fell like on her butt, like she was kind of running backwards. The prop falls on the floor and misses this girl by like inches. Like
That's
she
what
got
the thud
super close.
was.
That's what the thud was, and why all of a sudden somebody just stopped spinning.
Because I remember hearing a thud and just thinking it was part of these props moving and
She
whatever.
almost got crushed, and then she got up and played it off so well.
My
But I'm like,
gosh. Well, claps to that performer. That's I hope.
that
Wow.
was scary because those things
Hey,
were metal. Like
they
those
were,
were not cheap little flimsy props.
yeah. Well, because they were climbing up on them and coming down too. They were like sliding down them too, I think, weren't they? Like a ramp almost.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I did love that they kept changing the stage and kept changing the environment with those props, and that was really fun to watch too. Just how they either rotated them or lifted them, or let them at the ground, whatever. I mean, it was really that was fun to watch too, just how they manipulated their environment.
So Chino Hills, keep being weird,
Yep,
keep
yep,
being
love it.
kooky.
We're here for it.
We're here for it.
Yep.
Moving on to 10th place, we have our first tie of the class because there's two. We're going to go with Norwin High School first because going from the bottom of the list. Their first,
Okay.
and their show was Heartless, and they used "My Heart and I think that's the name of the song. It could be called something else.
No, that's correct. Yep.
By Sting. And this song has a special place in my heart because the 2007 Aimachi is probably
I
my
was gonna
favorite
say,
show.
yeah.
I
It's yeah, when
love
I
that
hear this
color guard
song, I
show.
always think of that. I think that was the first time they got a medal,
Yes.
I believe, as well. Yeah.
I love, love, love that year. So it's just like it's so good.
Beautiful show.
I was already like, oh, I love this,
Yeah.
because I love the song. I will say they had a tough run in finals, but a lot of the color guards did. I don't know if it was just the pressure or just end of the season, adrenaline, whatever. Even when we get to the Woodlands, like Woodlands had a lot of uncharacteristic drops in their finals run, but the show itself, very cool. They had a light that was on the back of their hand, like
Yeah.
like a tap light.
Uh-huh.
And that's that because remember we were talking, are they holding something?
Yeah, I was like, what is happening with this hand? Because it was, yeah, it was like something is on that. It was hard to tell from the video, but
Yeah, so they play with it like as like the life of a heart and everything like that. And then they would turn it on and put it over their chest where your heart would be. And I think
hmm
at the end, they pulled it down and turned it off.
hmm
I love the ramps. I love that they use the ramps,
yeah,
catch, slide down the ramps.
they were doing some stuff on the ramps that that was incredible to watch just on its own. Was just they were very fearless from from that aspect. Yeah, I liked this show a lot. I didn't understand it one bit in terms of just like I didn't get it, but I liked it. I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was so
Yeah, I
weird.
think you messaged me. You're like, "Is this a bleeding heart? What is
And
the?"
well, right, because I was like, yeah, because the costume
It was red. Yeah,
it like had like partial red up to like through their wrist, and then it just went away. And I was like, are they holding like bloody heart? Like, are they holding a like a? Is that what this is? I don't know. I liked it, and they were great. I mean, they really were.
and
They
it
were
was a good
it
year for them. They've been
was a
enrolled
very
for
good
a
year.
while and kind of hovering on the bottom of the class, flirting with making finals. And
Yeah, but yeah, this was just really cool, really cool. Yeah, because last year was the Lizzie Borden show, which I still think should have snuck in finals, but um, this was this showcased them in a very fresh way, I think.
yeah,
Yeah, and the ramps didn't move. Am I
no,
correct?
no,
They were
they were
all
stationary. Yep.
yeah, okay. Which was kind of
I mean,
could
because
have
they had a ton of them on the floor.
could have been considered a risk in terms of like you're not this isn't doing anything, so you're constantly having to like it's in your way. You're gonna have to deal with this ramp.
And they were big too, so they took up a lot of space.
Yeah, yeah. And they did a great job of fully incorporating that into everything. Yeah.
So Norwin, keep it up. Make
Love
finals
it.
again next year. Keep
Yeah.
improving. Their cohort. This is oddly funny because they're from the same area and they're kind of like school
And they're
rivals.
they're kind of yeah,
Yeah.
they're always head to head and like in the fall season and the winter, like they're yeah, like you said, they're kind of rivals in a way.
Not the color guards, but like the schools in general.
Yeah. Well, even
Um,
like BOA land, they always would go back and forth,
yeah.
going to regionals and stuff. So this is fun.
So this is Kiski Area High School from Kiski Area, Pennsylvania, and their show is Tomorrow Will Not Wait.
Mhm.
And before we talk about the guard, we do need to address they had a very tough season. They lost their director for health reasons. I want to say around December, maybe early January. And the show was not complete. They needed to find somebody to complete the show. They had to pull out of an early regional because of it. Like they really got a very rough start. And then another person came in to help out the guard. Then they had a serious health issue. It's just like it's one of those seasons where it's just like, dude, can something please go right?
Right.
And honestly, by the end of the season, it did. They got their show pulled together. They got out, started competing. And you know what? 10th place at finals for the year they had, that's like a gold medal.
They were fat, and I kind of gushed over them immediately early in the at regionals because the regional that they because they brought their A guard to Dayton as well, and their A guard was also at all the regionals that they went to, and they were the ones that showed up at this regional. Well, where's the world guard? Well, they had pulled out, but the A guard gave you world class training just in an A class show, and I was blown away by that. So watching the actual world team, like these performers are phenomenally trained.
Yes, there's an
I mean,
incredible
and I
training in this
think
program.
they all I don't know. Maybe it was just me watching them, especially in finals, but even just because I think I caught them in maybe semis or prelims, and then at the regionals that they were at. Watching these performers, you could tell they were like, "We're doing this. We are locked in. We are gonna make this happen."
Yep.
And they did. They sure did, and it was really, really exciting to watch.
Yeah, they had to pull together
I
as a
mean,
team, you know, and they
yeah,
did. They
they came
really
together as
did.
a unit. They relied on their individual training as as training as an ensemble. It was just so well done. Kudos to all those performers for sticking it out and doing a fabulous job. I liked the show a lot. This kind of dot circle motif on the floor,
With like the lines kind of
kind of yeah,
connecting them.
and it wasn't anything you had to think about. It was just they were doing what I think Kiski typically does. They're going to give you really great color guard.
Yeah.
That's it.
I do think it could have used some more variety. I think like all their weapon catches were just a standard catch, but I'm like at this point they were like we need to get a show on the floor. Like
Uh,
they had to pull out of like a early February regional because they just weren't done. So like
yeah,
and
yeah,
these world guards are done by the time January runs around. So when they come out in February
yeah.
like like when Avon last year with that Voilasha came out.
Ready to go.
I
Right.
mean, I was like, how are they this clean the
Yeah,
second week of February? It's because that's just how they work. So, yeah, not being done by then. And like I said, it's a huge victory. They did a great job.
they really did.
They really pulled together and surged that last second, the second half of the season.
Yeah. And their future is very bright because that A team that they brought was stellar. So they are doing all the good things there to have a happy future.
And they will keep working.
Yep.
So, congrats to Kiski.
Congrats.
Let's move on to ninth place. We have Northview High School from Brazil, Indiana, and their show was "I Want You to Get Together."
This was a blast and a half. I'm a big Northview fan. I always
Same.
love them. And this was no different. It was great. It was just energy palooza, and these performers had an absolute blast. You could tell immediately that they're gonna just give you a show.
You could tell they were having fun on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
They use Take Five in the music, and then they mix it with some others. I don't know where let me see your hands, or I want to see your hands, show me your hands, whatever that voice was. I don't know where
Yeah,
that came
I'm not
from.
sure what that was either, but it was a fun thing to kind of mix in there, and yeah, it was.
Yeah, very jazzy. Just yeah, I loved the dot props, like the actual like platforms and how they stood
Yeah,
them
and
up, and then
they
they like did the splits over
rolled them
them, and
over the place, and I mean, yeah,
they rolled over them, and Northview loves to do tricks under their flags. I
they
like
will give you some full-blown gymnastics.
yes,
Like and the whole group, not just one or two of them, the whole group can do
yep.
it. It's just like, all right,
Sit turns, forward rolls, illusions, front walkovers. They will just.
yeah. It's
It's
so
like,
good.
are some of these girls on the gymnastics team? I mean,
They
that girl
might
doing
be. I
back
mean, it's a
handsprings.
smaller school. There's not a very big, so they may be doing multiple activities. But I feel like, even going back into like the 90s and whatnot, I mean, they've always been that way. They've always had this element of gymnastic ability
Mm.
that's mixed in with their movement and with their equipment, and it's always just fun to to see what they're gonna do with that, how they bring that to the whole theme.
I've been a fan of Northview since 1998. The
Mhm.
Human Voice
That was
show.
the
That
human
was
voice.
like
Yes, yeah.
the step off for Blast.
And they had the colors and
And the
yeah,
numbers, and it's just
that was a great show. Yeah.
yeah, they had so many great shows throughout the years, and this one was great too. I do think they ended up in the right place because they were one of the guards who were bouncing all over the place. Like
Yeah.
prelims, they were tied for sixth. Then, or sorry, semis, they were tied for sixth. I think they were eighth in prelims, and they moved up to sixth for semis, then down to ninth for finals. And they were in that little tight bubble area where
Just kind of Yeah, just
everybody weaving around each other. I do think they ended up in the right space, though, because when you compare them to everybody else,
mhm.
while they're doing lots of fun gymnastics, I do think there wasn't enough meat to their equipment work in
Okay,
comparison to what the other guards were doing. The
sure.
show's tons of fun. It was very clean, very
Yeah.
clean. I love that like Matrix style cartwheel they do in the flag feature where they take the flag over themselves, over their head. I
Uh,
mean,
yeah.
they love to pull out the tricks in the flag feature. I mean, they did the forward roll during the Fleetwood Mac show. And then
That's
last year they did the sit
right.
kick turn. It's just this is another guard that I every year I'm like, ooh, what are they doing? What are
Just
they doing?
and this and I'm remembering this now. I kind of wish I'd said it earlier, but it's fun to notice that well, you have Northview, you've got Bellbrook, at least those two in this particular class, that this is the guard. They don't have they have a like a junior high team or like a elementary junior high team, but they just have the one high school guard. They
Yeah, they
don't
don't have like the 3 and 4
they don't do
guards.
yeah, you don't they don't have a an A team with the freshmen on it. No, they're all here, which is really wild. And you see them in the fall, this is who you're gonna get. So it's like it's cool to to just realize like, wow, this is everybody. Here we are. Like it's just they're all on the same level. They're all, they're all in it together, in that in the same team. It's wild.
They have a featured dancer they love to use. She's got like the big dark brown like curly
Mhm.
hair that she's been featured around, and she does this leap in the back corner where the white squares are, and just like
Yes.
that little
Yeah.
elm performer almost kicks herself in the back of the
And
head.
just bam, nails it.
Yeah,
And
front
just
handsprings. But I love that she's spinning equipment this year, and now that you mentioned that they only have the one guard, that makes sense because in the mod show last year she never touched equipment. She danced the whole show.
really, I didn't notice that. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
and that could be why they're like maybe she just couldn't keep up. If they
Well,
only have one
right.
guard,
Yeah, you gotta use your strengths and
right?
make it work. So it's smart choices in that regard.
So yeah, tons of fun. I do question the shoes.
That was the if over anything else in this whole show, I didn't understand the costume, and I'll include the shoe in the costume. The whole just
The solid white like overall
what the
or
performers were
coverall.
wearing. I wasn't quite sure what that. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't mind it. It didn't bother me at all. It was just kind of like, huh, that's not what I would have picked, but okay,
Well, not everybody can be an orange sequins,
I guess.
which honestly would have probably worked on this color palette with
It
that
actually would have
avocado
probably
green.
worked great, yeah. But yeah, it was just it was an interesting look. Which I mean, honestly, I was about to hold up my paper. Look at this list of, of stuff, Eric. No, like in the array of stuff. I like that it was there. I like that it was something completely different from all these other groups that we've seen
Yeah,
or that we will see after them. Um, but it was an interesting. Be curious to know why'd you pick that?
yeah.
What
I
was it
will say
about?
so. They do turnarounds under smaller tosses.
Yes, yeah,
Um,
they'll throw a triple on rifle and turn underneath it.
and they did in the
Like,
show. They threw they
like, oh
threw
my
a
gosh, and
rifle
that's
triple
it's
and turned under it.
terrifying. Like, oh my gosh,
And
that's
they were turning around on those platforms, and it's just
uh-huh.
like,
So maybe the shoe maybe had more of a tread or like a spin spot or something on it that helped them maybe achieve that. And I don't know. Be
I don't
curious
know.
what that was. Yeah.
Yeah, Northview. We loved it.
Love it. Yay.
Love you every year. Mwah.
See you in the fall.
Let's move on to seventh place. We have another tie, our second tie.
Huh?
So our first group is Warren Central High School and their show Hope.
Yay. Yes. Man.
And I've seen the show so many times because anytime they were performing, I was like, I'm watching this because I loved it so much. It was my favorite take on Hope across the entire activity. There was
Yeah.
just something about what they did. I think what it is they were in the sleek black uniforms and like the slicked back hair. So they had that sleek look to them. And I feel like they really approached it like, look, it's a rap song. So
Mhm.
we're going to embrace like the rap beat and the syncopation of the music. And, they were trying to get into that feeling of the song. And I think
Yeah,
that's why I liked it, because I'm like, I'm seeing what I'm hearing
sure. Okay.
rather than not seeing what you're hearing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, there are many other reasons why I love the show.
yeah. Well, the kids are phenomenal.
Insane, insane.
They had kind of like Northview, maybe slightly more in some ways, but like they came out of the gate just on fire.
They
I will
beat
say
Carmel at the Indy Regional. They won the Indy Regional,
they
beating
did.
Carmel.
Yep. They were there. I mean, they just powered through this whole season. I will say I think by the time they got to Dayton, they were tired.
They were tired, yeah.
Which I mean, I, I would be asking to just like sit on the bench in the corner and not do anything because I'd be exhausted. So the fact that they maintained this energy and the stamina through the whole season was just incredible. Um, yeah,
That's a physically demanding show too.
there you go. Yes, incredibly demanding from an energy perspective. Equipment,
Yeah.
yes, that too, but that energy level was had to be on a 10 every single time. And wow, 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 wow. I love the one performer giving you drop spins in the back corner.
Yes.
Just so good.
Cranking them out.
Good. Gorgeous flag that she had, by the way. That was
The
beautiful
flags were
silk,
really pretty. Yeah.
beautiful silk choices. And just enough of something to pop against the black costume and the black bench, in terms of that choice too. So yeah, beautiful silks.
Yeah. All the equipment stored in the benches. The benches never moved.
They kept the environment very clean, very, very streamlined in some respects, I think. Because it could have gotten messy on the edges. They could have let that happen.
Right.
They kept it, yeah, they kept it all on the benches. It was very, very, very neat, tidy, and crisp to the point. It was, yeah, really stellar.
And everybody's favorite, that double time feature. I
Oh, the double
mean,
time. Yes, that was just
and then the pink flag feature, that soloist. So after the double time feature, it goes to like a more stripped down moment, and they had a flag soloist come to the front corner, and she did this really wicked cool body roll where the flag was between her neck and her shoulder, and then she just grabs it and whips this 45 out, and it was probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And I'm going to be mad at the fans. People wouldn't clap for her, and I'm like, clap for her. This is really cool. I understand the
because
rifle
I will
tosses are
guarantee you,
cool.
almost half the people watching that couldn't do it.
No,
So,
I watch it and I'm like, I'm trying to figure out just the path of the pole. I'm like, maybe I could
I
figure this out. Nope.
mean, yeah, clap for the flags, people.
Yes.
Period. Like, stop acting as though they don't deserve your attention because they do. Jeez, they are. Yeah,
Yeah. Clap for the flags, because
that's
she
another
that moment was crazy. I loved it so
fantastic.
much.
And then when they're all on flag, and then they come into that line and they toss and
And
move
then
up
run.
and move up one and catch, like, whew, I've seen independent groups do it, but rarely do you see a high school team attempt that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it, oof, love it.
So good. I mean, and their rifles were crazy strong. They're like their main rifle line of like those 6 or 7, that start with that sit turn that goes down the 45. And then that one superstar performer they have, she is absolutely bonkers amazing.
Yeah.
Like I never saw her flub anything.
Hmm.
She double turns, catch on my back, double turns into the splits, nailed it every single time.
Yeah.
I want to be her when I grow up. In
I
my
want to. I
next
want to be.
life,
I
I want
want
to
to
be
be the
her.
girl. I want to be the girl doing the drop spins in the
The drop
corner.
spins. We're gonna recreate our own version of the show, and you can be
There
the
we
drop
go.
spin.
Perfect. I'll be like, yay!
But even
Oh,
something as simple as that was just so effective. Just picking up that simple piano note that's just
yeah.
over and over
It's
and over.
so funny that they did that. Funny, like not funny, interesting because it was. Yeah, it just gave you this unexpected. Like that is not what I. Okay, but it's
Yeah,
like it totally works, and they just built around it and let the whole. It was just so good. It was
yeah.
so good. Uh, yay.
So yeah, Warren Central.
Yep.
I love this. I've been one of your biggest fans all season. I got to see you live, and I almost peed myself. I was so over the moon about it.
That's right, because they went to the East Power
They
Regional.
did. So I looked. That was like almost a 12-hour trek for them.
Yep. Yep.
They drove all the way over to Pennsylvania, where it was Bethlehem,
Mhm.
for that regional. They were the only Scholastic World Guard there. I wonder why they went. I'm just maybe
The
just to
only
get a
thing I,
different
the thing
view,
I
or
thought in my head was they signed up not knowing that Norwin and Kiski weren't going to come. I mean, you sign
oh,
up,
that's a good
you
point.
don't know
Yeah,
who else you're registering. We're just going to go, and then just happened that they were the only ones.
because they went to the Mid East Power Regional. Oh.
Right? Yeah. Which but yeah, it was cool. I think
Yeah,
it was a cool experience for the students to be able
yeah.
to be over there and see some teams that they probably
Oh,
would
and
have,
let me tell you, so like the
you know.
Fusion people, the Blessed Sack people, they were fangirling all over the place for the Warren Central kids. So,
Oh,
so they got their flowers when they were
really
there. So, which is excellent. Yes.
that's really really cool. That's
Yeah, I saw lots of pictures of everybody saying, "I got to take a pic." I don't know the girl's name, but that superstar from Warren Central, like
yeah.
there was a little clump of them, and then yeah, I saw pictures of Blessed Zach with them, Fusion with them, so they were definitely getting the attention they deserve.
I like it. That's cool. Great season for Warren Central.
Yes,
Very, very strong. And they tied with
Center Grove High
Center
School with their show All,
Yes.
and this you want to talk about a great year for them. They were 15th in finals last year, 7th this year, getting back up in those rankings.
And
Opened with the incredible silent feature.
stunning. Just stunning. And
I
I
still want to know how that worked. Like, did they have a staff member waiting there for them to catch and hit play?
to push the button or
I mean, because you'd have to hit that like if
I
there's any kind of delay, it kills the moment. Like, I wonder how that worked.
I don't know. Center Grove folks, if you're out there, let us know if you know how that worked. It was very cool. And just this was probably one of their best programs, best shows in a few years, just in terms of they captured you right off the bat. And I mean, I don't know how long it was. Maybe it wasn't, was it a minute of silence? I mean, I don't
No, it wasn't that long. It was like probably 30 seconds, but
Okay,
yeah,
it
it was
felt like it
notable.
was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that opening flag feature was just beautiful. And then we get to see them, oh, I'm going to spin my flag for a second too while I'm also spinning my saber. I'm going to give you this kind of double. I mean, and they're holding the body positions and they're giving you this just wow, wow,
And they
wow.
were actually spinning both pieces of equipment. It
Yeah,
wasn't like they
they
tucked the
weren't just
saber
like
in a
I'm going to
cradle.
hold it with my leg or whatever. Yeah,
Right. No, they're
I'm going to
spinning both
manipulate
pieces.
both things.
And they did that a lot,
Yeah.
which
The
is wildly impressive.
It was just a great show. Another, again, gorgeous costumes. Wow. Beautiful kind of reddish burgundy with some gold accents. Beautiful costuming. Very flattering on the performers too. Look, just across the board, they all looked very beautiful. And just a great show. Just
Yeah, great year for them moving up. I love how they use the flags as like props in the show. Like they had the two poles that were just there, and then they put the flag on top of it. So you had like a curtain. So the silk made a curtain
yeah,
effect.
yeah, a little curtain or banner or something kind of thing. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I
it
don't
was.
understand the all. Like I don't know what that.
And I could be way off on this. The only thing I kept thinking was they were every single person in the group was doing everything. Like they didn't hide anybody. They didn't, like in terms of like it was like they are all involved. Like they are all giving you this show. They're like all in. I don't know. That's kind of where my mind went with it. I was
Mm.
like, yeah, every single one of these performers is full blown committed. It's just incredible.
I mean, I would love to see Center Grove continue to improve. I mean, they were that constant bridesmaid year after year after year in Scholastic World, and before that they were winning. I mean, I mean,
They've
they
they've never won.
not even in like in the early '90s. I swear they won in the early
They
'90s.
I think well, I'm sorry. No, they did one. I think they won once or twice in the very early 90s.
That's crazy that this program's only won once or twice.
And then they were second and third so many times.
Bishop Carney, then James Logan, and it's
They
just
were
like
always just right up in there. Honestly, I mean, there's some of those shows probably could have very well have been a gold medal show. Uh,
1997.
which one? Oh, 97, yeah. Or 99. Whew, that on display show was super cool
Oh,
with
the purple and green.
the clear panels. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
I love
stunning.
98 too, but Miami Spurgeon and James Logan were just so good that year. That's a 98 Scholastic
That
World is
90, yeah,
it's an
98
amazing year. That
was
was
the
Rhapsody Inside Out.
and it was like if you watched it from the front or the back, it was the same show, which was there's stuff about that show that's wild.
1998 Center Grove, you could do an entire podcast episode talking about all of the things that are in that show, like all the tidbits, the
Hmm.
how they use Rhapsody in blue and they call
Hmm.
it Rhapsody Inside Out. So they use the opposite color in the spectrum of blue is orange. So everything's orange at the front. The props are backwards. Like you
Hmm.
see the back of the prop. They're standing in front of the prop instead of standing behind them. Like everything, like they're getting changed in plain view. Like everything is backwards. And then they start switching to blue, and the props flip around and they're blue. They change the floor to blue. Their uniforms change to blue. And then everything starts coming to the front.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they make a form. And then in like a 16 count transition, they make the exact same form and do the exact same phrase to the back. Like it's just, there's so many. I, this is one of my,
It's a good one.
it's a
It's a good
very
one.
good one. There's so many cool, like intellectual things in it.
Yeah.
And there's one recording of it on YouTube, and it's the Vaseline filtered
Mm.
video. So, like, I would say
I
go
think that's
watch
one
it.
I've got. I think I have that one on a DVD somewhere. So that one's I've got the a good recording of
Yeah.
it.
Because I would say go watch it, but people are going to be like, this is what he's losing his mind over. I can't even see anything. And
It's so good.
it's
But
like somebody like recorded their VHS with a video camera and then took the video camera to their computer and plugged it in to YouTube. Like that's the quality of it.
oh
But
shoot.
yeah,
But
Center Grove stalwart program.
just
I don't remember how many years, but they announced it at finals, like how many times they've been in. It's got to be it's in the 30s.
them on Miamisburg and Northview, I think it's all they're in the 30s. They're all in the 30s somewhere.
Miamisburg is number one. They were the most. I think Center Grove's number two.
It's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely incredible.
Beautiful show. Keep it up. Can't wait to see it.
Keep getting better.
Guys,
So
in the future.
happy.
Yeah.
Let's move on to sixth place. Oddly enough, we just talked about the Miamisburg High School with
Yeah.
their show Wasting Time. And
Yes.
they did a cover of Sitting on the Dock of the Bay by Sarah Bareilles. It was a live cover of it.
And absolutely gorgeous tarp.
Yes.
This was just absolutely beautiful.
That purple with the blue in the middle, and then the fade to the pink on the other side. And
And oh wow. Yeah. And the way that the dock went from the right side, you're the way, the side two, your side, the right side as you're looking at the floor, and then it moves to the other side versus going left to right. It's moving right to left, which is kind of a fun way to just
yeah, yeah, because naturally you would go
yeah,
from left to right
you think
naturally.
everything's just gonna go from but
I love how they broke apart into individual pieces and then they connected them into
ah,
like a full, almost like a pier rather than a dock. Just,
yes, it really was a beautiful show. I know, you know, I could see why some folks maybe didn't like it, get, quote unquote boring, but these
I didn't think so.
I didn't either. See, I didn't either. I thought it was absolutely beautiful, and the performers are just phenomenal.
I mean, what else would you expect out of Miamisburg? I mean,
I love, in particular, I love the flag feature at the end as they've moved to the other side and they pick up the silks that are blending into the color of the tarp and and they're on and you have the one performer who's sitting on the dock and she's just having a good time swinging her legs while they're doing this feature around her and
there's your spot.
I could do the flag feature. Maybe, probably not. I don't know. But it was just a beautiful show. It was just a kind of a feel good, it just felt good. It was good.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it had lots of great moments. The weapons were very strong.
Hmm.
I wasn't crazy about the silent feature they added at the end,
Hmm.
simply because I'll say I know it's a world guard, but in general with silent features, they need to be a little more simple because when you get into tricky, twisty choreography, if there's no beat, no pulse, it gets dirty very quickly.
Yeah.
And I think they had some struggles with it. I didn't I don't I just didn't think it was necessary. I don't say I didn't like it. I didn't think it was necessary.
Yeah.
But yeah, the floor, the color story, the way the props move across, they naturally floated like they were floating down a river. Even though we're talking about a dock, docks don't float, but it's just like they almost turned in like little rafts and
Yes.
then
Yeah.
formed a new dock. Like you're moving down the river to a new stop. Like,
It was just good.
yeah, it was a good show. And they didn't have any like prop issues at finals like they did last year.
Oh, that's right. Because yeah, last year with the floor. That's right. Yeah.
What a disaster. I would have cried. I would have
I remember
cried.
being so confused and thinking to myself, "Wait, did I envision the lights? But I don't. What's going on?"
I went back and watched the video multiple times. I'm like, I'm not crazy, right? Because I remember seeing it. The floor is supposed to light up
It happened in. I think it happened in prelims and semis.
and semis, yeah, and it
And
happened
it was
all
like,
season.
cool. This is really neat.
And then
And
finals, it
it
didn't
didn't
work.
happen. I was like, wait, what's going on? But yeah, this year was just a beautiful, feel good,
Good
and
old fashioned
they
color guard show.
yeah,
And I mean that in the best way possible.
yeah, exactly. And they're always so good to watch spin. They're almost like an East Coast guard, but they're in the Midwest.
Yeah.
They're sort of mid East, I guess. But they're I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the
Like
Rust Belt area.
the way that they, especially Saber, the way that they'll spin a Saber is very East Coast.
Yeah. I would say, yeah, I'd say Miamisburg is more of a saber guard than a rifle guard,
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
which is kind of rare these days because I feel like most guards lean gun.
Mm-hmm.
It's like especially in the lower ranks like A's and open, like they'll touch a saber,
Right,
but
but
all the guards they can spin a gun, and then
yeah,
some of them pick up saber, and you're like, maybe you should go back to gun.
yeah.
But Miamisburg is like, no, saber,
No,
saber, saber.
give me that Saber. Yeah. Dance with a stick.
All right, let's move on to our top five. So, fifth
Hi.
place, we have Flanagan High School from Florida. Their show Found, and they were 13th place last year, and they jumped to fifth this year. And I absolutely love the show, but I have to address this longest pre-show ever that I've seen. I'm like, so they start the music, and I timed it. It was a minute and 10 seconds of full blown body choreography, staging all over the floor before they finally get to their starting point. It says performing their program. And I'm like, it's
I
not judged. Why?
so interesting. Huh. I mean, yeah, I'm as you say that now, I'm thinking, yeah, you're right. There was a very long kind of opening moment. I didn't even really register, I guess. I was just kind of like watching it happen and just like, okay. But it was very
It was fully choreographed.
what
It's not like it
is
was like we're just
happening.
gonna, yeah, we're not gonna just like move. No, they were legit dancing around the floor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where's the announcement? Like, where's the, like when I saw them in prelims, I'm like,
Yeah.
and then finally they all get set, and that girl puts her hands on her knees and puts her heads down, and this is performing the show. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And then the show was excellent.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
I think in this whole batch of this class, Flanagan and then El Dorado, stunning sets. Just
Yeah.
and the way that they use this black, well, the black lines on the tarp, like in the tarp design, but then they also had these kind of really low, narrow black, I guess like
Kind
a
of like the front drop props you would
like
almost
a front
have
drop, yeah, that were like out on the floor, and then like the black, like the way that like the different levels of it scattered around, because you had the one
over on the right side. Yeah.
giant prop on the right side that was kind of meshy or see through, and then you had that was just a really beautiful, and then the way that the flags were
Flags were beautiful.
gorgeous,
And the uniforms mirrored the floor.
and
Like it
the
was all
whole
very,
thing was just
very matchy, but it worked.
I think the black helped it break it up enough where you're like,
Mm.
oh, this isn't, yeah, it's not overwhelming in that way. And that peachy peachy, creamy tan coloring was just everything. I loved it.
Yeah, I do think it's very funny that in the season of Hope, everybody using Hope, they used Hide and Seek by Imogen Heap,
Good
which if you don't know your color guard
old
history,
flashback to what was that?
2007
27, yeah.
was the year of hide and seek where
So many
you
groups.
think a lot of guards did Hope, you haven't seen anything. And so many guards did hide and
Let me
seek.
pull out my circuit DVDs and we'll look at those because there's at least in that one in that one circuit there were at least like three that did it that year, and then
Like, oh my God, the
it
song
was
was everywhere.
nuts. Yeah, great song though. Good,
Yeah,
good.
and I loved how they changed it up. Like they took out like
It
the various voice tracks, like it was just the bass line, and then they would throw in the harmony, or it was just the harmonies and they took out the bass line. Like,
it gave it this total fresh spin on it, and you're like, oh yeah, it's wow.
and then at the end they give you the full blown what you say, like straight off the CD, like
Yeah.
weapons very strong, and they were another guard that had kind of a little shaky run in finals, but whatever. But we watched them in prelims and I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, because we hadn't seen them. I remember we were texting back and forth, Flanagan's getting ready to go on.
Yeah, I was like, oh, finally we get to see this. Yeah, and
So good.
so good. I will say, I think uh, again, just kind of picturing in my mind what I'm remembering, they had some of the best flag choreography in the batch. I mean,
Well,
that's
Adam Sage is working with them, so that's probably why.
that's probably why.
That's probably why.
Yeah, he always gives some
He knows how to write some flag choreography, let me tell you.
oh my goodness. Um, it was just I just it was just beautiful. Yeah. I can't say I understand the theme, the
I
found.
didn't get the little
I didn't quite latch onto that, but I didn't really care
I
because
wonder if it's because it was played out like hide and seek,
hide and
the
seek and
song they're using, and
found
then
you, or
found.
maybe
Yeah.
okay, maybe yeah, maybe that's yeah. Which
Yeah,
if
but
that's
those like
cool,
black
if not,
plasticky panels that they were using, I'm like, I didn't.
that's right. Yeah, when yeah, those came out, that was interesting. But I didn't care. I loved it.
Yeah.
I was here for all of it. So
And like El Dorado, because El Dorado did the same thing. I love when, flags get chucked onto the floor.
Mhm.
But if you're going to chuck it on the floor, chuck the damn flag onto the floor. And Flanagan does. El Dorado did. Throw that thing sky high. I want you to take
Uh-huh.
out a light. Like, don't just give me that little.
Yeah,
No,
no,
I
like
want you to throw that
launch
thing,
that sucker,
launch it.
and
And
yeah,
they did. I love
it's,
it.
it's so good. But this is probably one of my. I'm gonna say this is my favorite Flanagan show I think I've ever seen.
Really?
Period. This was beautiful.
Mine's probably the Crash show.
No, this was just love, 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 love.
Yeah. Very beautiful.
Yep.
Glad you made top five.
Keep it up.
We
Keep
both
it up.
had you meddling.
Mhm.
So you let us down. No, I'm kidding.
You meddle in our hearts.
You meddled in our hearts. That's right.
Yes.
Let's move
All
on to
right.
fourth place, El Dorado High School with their show All Human Beings. Where
Man,
do we start?
this show made me cry.
Where do we start with this one?
And
Yeah, and I will say this style of show is not my speed. I could not get enough of this show. It was spectacular. And I have their flag feature was my favorite of the entire weekend.
okay.
Love
The whole weekend.
whole weekend.
Holy
Every
heck.
single color guard. El
Right.
Dorado had my favorite flag feature.
Love it. I support that. All right.
And I timed this one too. So it's literally 2 minutes of the beginning of the show,
Mhm.
no pulse, no beat. It's just that spoken word of all human beings, just that speech.
Yeah.
When I say no pulse, I'm talking about there's no boom, boom. There's nothing to go
Yeah, there's
forward timing. There's no beat. 2 full minutes of world class choreography, clean to a spoken word with no rhythm, no beat. Like it's
just
insane.
impeccable. And I will stand by that. I feel like every time I saw them, all through the World Championships weekend, but at the regionals as well, like they nailed that every time. I mean, it was captivating. It was powerful. It was beautifully done.
The setup was gorgeous.
Oh, that set with the rings and like the way that it went up into the backdrop and the whoo.
I don't know what it was supposed to represent. I was getting Saturn out of it. Like I
Don't
see
care.
the planet Saturn,
Do not,
but it's
literally do not care. It
but it's
was
beautiful.
absolutely, I mean, it was just stunning. And then the when the flags come out and they've got the colors and the silks and how they popped against that beige, the beigey tans of the
Hmm.
and the pro just that was just a 10 out of 10 in terms of choice and wow, it was yeah, and it just went with the soundtrack so well. Because I mean,
Yeah, those little hints of the
what
trumpet
do
and the
you
music.
decide to use for a spoken word moment? I
Yeah.
don't know. It's like how do you? It's like it just beautifully done. Yeah, because each flag had a little bit of a different. It not I won't say it was like a rainbow, but
No, it gives a very rainbow vibe.
it did
Yeah.
have okay, it did yeah, it did it, we'll say I'll say multicolor, but yeah, it was and the way that it just arced up and then they
Yeah.
flooded
Once you
the
got everybody on
floor.
the floor, you had like the
Oh,
yellows come out, then you had like the greens come out, then the reds, and and they were like four or five flags across that whole spectrum. So you got like a deeper red and a lighter pink, and then a hint of orange, and they just all blended together beautifully. And it was just a hint of color in the end of the flag, just like the hint of the trumpet and the music, and just like
ugh,
it's so gorgeous.
absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. This no offense to the others. This is I wish they had gotten a medal. I really do.
Same.
Just but I mean, hey, top five is nothing to sneeze at. Um, but that's just yeah. But and yeah, at the end when they all push forward together and then they look at each other and then they hold and they get their hands and oh, I was crying. It was so good. It was so good. It's just and that's through the TV. I can't imagine what it was like live in terms of just that
Oh,
getting
it had to be
emotion.
insane. Yeah.
But getting that through the TV even. So thank you, Flow Camera, for capturing that moment because it was just beautiful. Yeah. And what a program. I loved them last year. They had that kind of weird, I don't even know what it was.
I don't know what it was either. Yeah, because the two
Glacier
years
ice
was last year the glacier ice or was that 2 years ago?
that was last year. I don't know.
Okay.
It all blurs together, but nonetheless, they're just a great program. But and I've loved these shows the last few years, and this one was just stellar.
And another group of just insanely solidly trained
Oh yeah,
performers,
yeah.
just cracking tosses, which is hard to do given their soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to feel confident to like, we're all locked in, we're all gonna release together and
Yeah.
crack it every time. Yeah.
So El Dorado,
Love.
beautiful, beautiful,
Wait for
beautiful.
next year to see what you do because
Yeah.
wow, big fan right here.
Let's move on to our bronze medalist. We have Arcadia High School from Arcadia, California, with their show The Octopus.
Yes, big octopus props that were the big
Oh yeah,
arm
the big like pillow
tentacles
tentacles.
that
Yeah.
came out. Yeah. They had a great season, just kind of came out of the gate strong and maintained through the whole season. And this show was it was really well done. It wasn't my favorite thing necessarily, but
Yeah, I'm in the same
it
boat.
was it was very good. Um,
I like last year more.
yeah, I
The,
loved
those
this year a lot.
those black and white board props and just everything they did with them. So I will say they're very good with using props. Like they found a way to use all these octopus tentacles in
I feel
so
like
many
last year
ways.
was a little bit more inventive slash risky, and it paid off. This one was just kind of clever and unique, but didn't blow me away in terms of just
Well, I don't think you could do as much with them. I mean, with the boards, you could put people on them, you could put equipment on them. Like these, you
right.
really
So
couldn't do
that's
that.
kind of like okay, but the performers are just my goodness, they're incredibly consistent and great movers. They're really, really strong in movement. Did they have a flag feature? I really
For
don't
the
remember.
most part, yeah, it wasn't
I
a
didn't.
full flag feature, but it was close because they had tentacles swinging around during the.
Okay, yeah,
But I
yeah,
mean, there were quite a
yeah.
few of
I
them.
see, and that's yeah. I kind of glazed over that part, I guess. But yeah,
It wasn't like the year before where it was like boom flag
in your
feature where
face.
they so yeah, I mean I liked the uniforms were very pretty, and if you see them up close with the little like the octopus suckers on them and they had them going up
Yeah.
their face too. I think what it just wasn't as intriguing as the previous year because I think the soundtrack was a big part of that. When you're using a lot of voiceover,
Mm.
when that's completely different than what like Eldorado was doing.
Yeah.
It's well done. The kids are in great. Yeah, it's just and it was a good show. Just
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
sound like we're hating on them. We're
I know,
not.
I
We
know. It's
promise.
not. No, I mean they were very very good. I'm not surprised at all that they were in the top. I think is in the grand scheme of things, it's not the one that's going to stand out in any way other than octopus. Yay! Like, and which is cool. And I love a good underwater theme. So we got jellyfish and
And
Scholastic
we got
A,
jellyfish.
and we got this and Scholastic.
Ayala did a coral reef
They did the
show.
coral reef show. That's right. Yeah, and they were what were they, like 17th, I think, in this class.
Yeah, yep,
Like
they were
that.
17th. Yep.
Yeah, but I love a good underwater moment. But anyway, no, just a lovely show from Arcadia. I mean, there was nothing bad about it. Just yeah,
We still love you. We promise.
yeah.
Let's move on to second place, Carmel High School with their show Hush.
Mhm.
And this is the guard that used the chorale version of Goodnight Moon. That
Your
is,
favorite song.
I hate this song with a passion. And I do want to explain for, maybe people who haven't heard. So I know I've mentioned before I have two young kids. And my daughter between the ages of 18 months and 3, we read this book every single night.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, it's not a very good book. I don't know why it's called Goodnight Moon. The moon is not referenced in the story until the very end. Like this is a total diatribe against the book. So it's like, it says, good, just like the song, good night mittens, good night kittens, good night socks, good night clocks.
Mhm.
There was a telephone, a red balloon, a bowl of mush. The moon is never mentioned in the first half of the story. And then in the second half of the story, it starts saying good night to all of you. Good night, balloon. Good night, telephone. Good night, mush. And then it says good night, moon, but you never referenced the moon in the first part. It's a horrible book. And then when I found out somebody turned this into a full on chorale piece, I'm like,
Yeah, the Eric Whitaker
Eric
piece.
Whitaker. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Because Fusion did this 3 years ago. And this was right in the time when I'm reading Goodnight Moon all the time. And I was watching Flow and it comes on, and my daughter hears there was a telephone and her eyes lit up. She looked at the TV. She's like, I don't know what's going on. She was like 2, but
Yeah.
she's like, I know what they're reading. And I'm just like, so this is nothing against Carmel. We'll talk about the kids in the program in a moment, but this song, I hate it with a passion. Whenever he talks about that personal hell or
Uh-huh.
whatever,
This
my
is it.
hell is this song is playing on a loop in my personal hell.
Okay.
It's just this book is just when people get older and if you have kids or when you have to do this routine night after night, I cannot kid you. It was
That would be
every single night. Like I didn't even need the book.
yeah.
I would let her hold the book and I would just sit there while we're in the rocking chair with my eyes closed. And like there was a telephone and a red balloon. I would just recite it because I knew it word for word.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, I don't need to hear this. I don't need to be re-traumatized. But y'all aren't my therapist. Anyway, let's talk about the guard. um, the technique on this color guard is absolutely insane.
It's just stunning. Yeah.
Absolutely insane. How do you get high schoolers to spin like this?
I don't even know. I don't understand. And
And
typically
the biggest thing I take away from their technique is they all spin the same way.
it is consistent from every single person, down from the hair on their head to the tip of their feet. Everything is exactly precise. And yeah, like the muscles are moving the same. The whole, I mean, yeah, it is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, because you'll see guards that are equally as talented that can, maybe not equally. Carmel's, top of the
Well,
top.
but it's
But but you see the variances across the performers. This one you don't. It's just like the technique program is probably the
phenomenal.
best in the sport.
Yeah, I'd definitely wager that. Yeah, it certainly is up there, if not, yeah. I mean, it's remarkable when you look at it from that point of view. It really is incredible that
Yeah.
they're yeah, and not equipment, but movement as well. I mean, they all hold themselves the exact same way. Everybody's shoulder blades are in the same spot. Everyone's the wrist is all bent the same way. The whole all of it is precise.
Yeah. Just like we'd expect out of Carmel, it's a very, very good production, very well thought out. It's I know it's a lot of the same people, so it gives you a very sense of like Pride of Cincinnati, where it's just like they're very just good about the whole overall design. Like what you're going to get out of them,
Yeah.
and the moon props that they had and the various ways they use them. I love 2/3 of the way through the show. I want to say they start rocking them side to side,
Yeah.
and they're rocking in unison
Yeah.
and the performers are doing the exact same, but like you were talking about, just it's the exact same to get these giant heavy props to move at the same time.
Yeah, it's incredible. What I loved when I first saw this, whenever that, well, I guess the indie regional, I guess. I was like, oh, these are the props from the fall. And in the fall, they used these same props. They were a different color or something, but like so the performers were already so comfortable dealing with these in terms of
Mm.
being on it, around it, jumping over it, whatever they were doing with these, I'm just gonna call it like a crescent or a curve. Because in the fall, they were doing stuff outside with these things. I was like, this is nuts that you're doing this on the marching band field. So it was cool to see them bring them into the gym, get some double use out of the prop itself, but they were already so comfortable. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, we can do this. No big
Yeah,
deal.
we love recycling,
So it was a
especially
beautiful.
a giant prop like that. It's like we're gonna get our use out of
Yeah, it's
this.
like definitely get our money's worth out of this. Um, Again, gorgeous costumes. A blue was beautiful. Yeah, effortless is kind of the word that always comes to mind when I watch them. And again, that kind of relates back to the training and the just the complete uniformity of an ensemble. Uniformities on the sheets, they are checking that box immediately, and full amount of points on that. And it's just effortless to watch them manipulate the equipment, maneuver themselves around the floor, all of that. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, and such precision, just especially within their weapons. Like it's just a very good guard. Sorry, no, it's an excellent guard. It's an excellent program. I mean, yeah, despite
Yep.
the song, it's a great watch on mute.
Yeah. Mute it and play a different song and watch them do it, and you'll be like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah, just play a game. Just put on like
It's
a
actually
spot.
that's actually really fun to do is to like just put a DVD of guard shows in, but mute it and then play music, whatever, and just watch what happens.
One of my friends did that. So somehow their show, not 100%, but like 80% of the way lined up to Katy Perry's Firework.
Oh wow.
So, and they were doing kind of a slower
Yeah.
song. So for the pep rally, to get kids interested, they just played Firework and did the show. And they tweaked like a couple things for the pep rally. Like it works.
That's really cool.
Like all the moments like lined up and everything.
Yeah,
So,
that's fun.
but no, congrats to Carmel, silver
Congrats.
medalist.
Yep.
We'll
Very
see you
cool.
next year and you'll
Yes.
be up here. We know.
Yep.
Let's move on to our winner. So we have the Woodlands High School from the Woodlands, Texas, with their show Departures, and they won by 3.5 points.
Absolutely incredible. Period. End of discussion. No questions about this. That this was going to win. I mean,
Yep.
my goodness.
When I saw this live, not live, sorry, when I saw this the beginning of March, the Austin regional or something like that.
Mhm.
Not the Power Regional, but the one before that.
So, yeah,
I was like, I was texting you, and I'm like, they are grossly underscored. I was mad about their score because I'm like, this is too low.
yeah. The first couple regionals they went to, it was like, why are these? What is happening with these numbers?
I'm like, I know it's early March, but
Yeah.
Yeah, that is not an 84. That's like an 87. But yeah, it just I knew they were going to run away with Dayton. I was like, I saw Avon last year. I'm like, they're going to win. You cannot tell me otherwise. And then I saw Woodlands this year. I'm like, they're going to win. You cannot tell me otherwise. And they look like an independent world guard on the floor.
They could have easily, I think, competed. We've said that before to each other. Like, yeah, they could have easily competed up against the independent world teams and been just fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
And funny enough, so this was kind of their worst run of the night of the weekend,
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, they had some
quote
bobbles.
unquote
Yeah.
worst run. I mean,
Well, yeah,
yeah,
but I
they came
think
out in
in
prelims.
terms of achievement of
Yes,
some of the moments, yeah, that was not as crisp.
but their prelims run, my God. You know, the judges were like, we can't give this a 98 yet. So because their prelims run was bonkers. And just I know everybody's seen the show a bunch. Just they do so much and they look like an independent world guard. When they make that big hit on
Mhm.
that 45 and just all of a sudden everybody's the flags are running, the rifles are running, and they have that big build up to it. It's such a great moment. And the ballad moment is amazing for the sabers. I love the girl where they balance the saber on her head, and then she's holding one on her arm, and she
Yeah.
hands her hand out. And
Their saber rotations were
oh my god,
phenomenal. Like, I don't even like Carmel's gonna give you the class and technique. Woodlands took it and said, okay, fine. Here's I guess it was a six, maybe a seven. I don't know what they were throwing exactly, but my God, you can see those hilts, and those hilts are all in
whoomp whoomp
sync
whoomp. Yeah,
and just it's breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking.
yeah. They're. I mean, the entire guard is insane. The weapons,
And they are a big team.
big team. Yes, I didn't count, but 36 maybe.
36, 38 on the floor. I
Yeah.
mean, and they were, whoo, yeah. But it didn't feel overwhelming. Well, again, kind of like some of those independent world teams that were very large, but like it didn't, the way it was staged and the way that they, you
How
know,
do you stage a show like
manipulating
this?
those the props they had and things, it never felt overwhelming or chaotic to in a way of like, oh, this is not gonna work. It was so
Yeah, I don't know how you stage this because there's so much going on. They do. I mean, we didn't even mention all the stuff they do with the props. I
right,
mean,
yeah, the seats, the
like, how do you get this out of somebody's brain and onto the floor, and it just looks so good? I just
Airbnb, pink, perfect. Like just yeah. I don't know, but they were just a blast. I've loved them the last few years. They've been so fun to watch every time, and I
I
guess
remember when they won Open back in 2004
4. Uh-huh.
with the restaurant show.
That, yeah,
That
and
was
the
so much fun.
eating the cake at the end or whatnot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she got the pie to the face at the end of the
that
show. Yep.
probably, yes, yeah. That was a great show. It was very fun.
Yeah, it's just
But
so good. And their music I love. So they use similar music to Fusion. So the beginning track is the same that Fusion used. Where do people find these like they're like off the wall artists and like but every year there's always like oh they're using it too. They're using
yeah,
it too. Like I find that fascinating. But
I love it. It's fun.
in
Yeah.
the part 3 where they start going back to the like the more upbeat after like the ballad section, there's
Mhm.
just a little part of the music that goes boop boop boop, and I just yeah, it is my absolute favorite part of the whole
I
show, and it's just
love
like
that. That's awesome.
it's
Oh,
right before they throw that like ensemble saber six or whatever. It's like just before it, and it's just like and there's a little noise in it, and that's when they throw the blade triple and catch under the leg. Like it's just again, we could talk 20-30 minutes about the show. We're not going to, but we could.
yeah. Just a stellar program and a perfect gold medalist. They were
Yeah.
just the excellent job.
Yeah. I just, yeah. Yeah. This was another one of my absolute faves. I still think American Fork is I want to like my most fun. I want to rewatch this to be happy. Like
Okay.
I'm going to American Fork,
Yeah.
but just like of overall, like, like what was the best show?
Oh, Woodlands, yes.
Woodlands. Yeah. So good.
Honestly, I mean, I think I would, if I had to pick anybody from the whole weekend, it'd be Woodlands, period. The entire event. I want to
Yeah.
watch Woodlands over and over and over.
So, so good.
Yeah. Stunning.
And there's so much going on. There's so much you can see. You can go back and watch more, like watch these
Mhm.
rifles because they break the rifle line up into three different lines. Watch over here, watch over there.
You've got these props that are moving around constantly the whole time while they're spinning stuff. And I mean, this is just,
And then another one, another guard that chucking flags, like
uh-huh.
throw those flags, and they did.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
buckle
And
up.
a great flag feature, Woodlands too. A great flag feature.
Short and sweet. Yep.
Wow. It was fabulous. Yep.
Yeah, that yellow on the black, very,
Hmm.
very short flag feature with that toss they love to do. I loved it.
Yeah.
And that is it.
That's it.
We are done. We
Yay.
have talked, I didn't count. So what? There's 30, 30, and 35.
I
Because
just
there's 30 in world, 30 in
measured
open, and
fabric,
then
not math.
35 in A. So all 95 color guards, plus some extras because we talked first alternates.
That's true. Yeah. And
So
all the shows that weren't even in this decade. So this has been great. It was just a I will stand by. I think it's one of the best Scholastic World finalist batch in a very long time. Super strong.
agreed.
Super strong.
But now we get to put a bow on 2025 WGI and put it on the shelf with all the other years. And
Yep.
unfortunately, have no way to ever remember it because they
Wow.
won't do the DVDs anymore.
Please bring back DVDs. I will
And
pay
they're yanking stuff
good.
off YouTube
I
left
will
and
max
right.
out so many credit cards on getting DVDs. Oh wait, I've already done that before.
I wish I had cleaned house when they did you could build your own DVD.
I know. I've one at least one friend of mine, he did that. He was very smart and he may have every class. I don't remember, but it was yeah, I wish I had just paid more attention and just had the foresight to do that. Yeah. But
Oh, well, maybe one day
I'll
we
have him
can
write,
dream.
I'll have him write me in his will as the person to inherit his collection. Although we're basically the same age, so it won't really matter. But it's not gonna,
Let me make you some tea.
yeah. I'm sure
Where do you keep that collection again?
sure
Okay,
he'd
great. Do
let
you
it
want some
run.
tea? All
Uh,
right. Well, that's it, everybody. Happy WGI.
yes, happy WGI.
For those of you going to April camps, best of luck. I hope you get your spots. And if you don't, remember there are plenty of other corps out there you can march. Lots of openings. Open
Wonderful.
class is fine.
Open class scores are fantastic.
Don't pay $2,000 to push a prop, please.
Don't do that at all. That is absolute. That is highway robbery,
Yes.
extortion to the fullest.
And predatory, yes.
Don't do
Yeah.
that.
So if you hadn't heard, Crown put out this thing saying, come volunteer and work on our field prop crew. And then when you submit an interest, they send you a form back saying, okay, well, it's going to be 1750 for the summer, to not perform, to not be in
Yeah.
horn drum
Be
block
their
or to be in flag block, not, you
to be
know,
their biatch, basically.
basically. And they got a ton of pushback on it, and they rescinded the thing, saying, we're sorry, we'll find another way. But I guarantee you, after this dies down and after April camp, there's going to be people that don't make it, and I bet you they're going to get a secret email saying you can be part of our prop crew. They're just
Don't
not going to publicize it, so please do not do it.
don't do that. You
If
can
you
do
don't make Blue Coats, Boston, whoever, if you don't make it, it's okay. You can go to
save your
another
money
corps.
and do something. Yeah, you don't need to do that. That's not, yeah.
Yeah. I never understand the people that are dead set on I have to march this corps and only this corps. Like there are so many great opportunities out there. Go
Exactly.
march open class. There's so many great. You will get the same experience. You will sleep on the
Oh,
same floors.
groups.
You will shower in the same ice cold showers. You'll practice in the same heat and humidity as
Yeah.
everybody else. You'll be in the
You'll
same
get to have
stadiums.
all of the all of the same experiences as
Yeah.
everybody else.
You'll get the same what happens on the bus stays on the bus story. So
Right. Well,
oh, but yeah, so that's it.
yeah,
We're
thanks
done.
for having me on. It's been fun to be
Yes.
here and recap it all with you. And
And we will definitely have you back on. Don't worry. This is not the last you've heard of Will. So he will be back at some point. I don't know what the plan is going forward. There is one more episode coming that's going to be about rules proposals. So WGI did just announce the dates for the advisory board meeting in Vegas. So if you want to change a rule, keep an eye out on WGI's website because that's going to open up very soon. So if you
yep,
want to change some things, we talked about that promotion, right? If you want all A to go to open, now's your chance to make that change.
yep. Yeah, submit your proposals and then sit back and watch what happens.
Yep. And you can do the same thing in your circuit. Circuits
Yes.
follow a very similar process.
Yep.
And I know FFCC, theirs is up now because I follow them on Instagram.
Tri-State Marching Arts has theirs up now.
So if there's a local rule, most of the circuits follow WGI for their core rules, and they usually have a couple extras, but be the change you want to see in the world, right?
There we go.
Change
Yeah.
the sport for the better. But
Yes.
until next time, stay safe, stay fabulous. And at the end of the day, remember,
It's just flags in the gym.
there we go. Bye,
Okay.
everyone.
Bye.